When the wreck was found, it was upside down, half buried in sand. But the strangest thing wasn't the ship. It was the metal shell lying next to it. A sealed iron chamber, with carved symbols on the side, and a window no bigger than an apple. Divers said the glass wasn't cracked. It was bent inward, as if the pressure came from inside. This wasn't cargo. It wasn't treasure. It was a machine, one no pirate should ever have known how to build. In 1702, a rogue engineer named Caleb Stroud vanished from the royal dockyards after stealing blueprints so secret the crown refused to admit they existed. Months later, he reappeared at sea with a pirate crew and a promise. "I can sail beneath the waves, and the Navy will never see us coming." They laughed, but they followed. Weeks later, the laughing stopped, because Stroud's invention didn't just submerge. It listened, it groaned, and sometimes it breathed. When the wreck was raised, historians denied everything. But sailors still whisper about the pirate who tried to escape the world by going underneath it, and found something waiting for him in the dark. Before he became a fugitive, Caleb Stroud was the Navy's brightest mind. A shipwright who didn't fear the ocean. He questioned it. He spent nights drawing impossible shapes. Vessels without sails, hulls without decks, engines without wind. His superiors called him unstable. Stroud called them land-blind. But everything changed the night he witnessed a merchant ship fold into the sea during a storm. Not sink, but twist downward, as if pulled by something beneath. He became obsessed with what lay below the surface. Not treasure, not creatures, but pressure, the crushing force that could kill a man in minutes or power a machine. He disappeared for weeks. When he returned, he brought an idea the Admiralty called treason. A chamber that moves like a whale, breathes like a man, and hides where cannons cannot reach. They dismissed him. Stroud didn't forget. He vanished with stolen plans, a stolen prototype, and a stolen crew. On a hidden stretch of coastline, he built a machine out of iron, pitch, and madness. A capsule he called the buried engine. It had no sail, no oars, just a crank, a vent, and a pressure bladder made from the stomach of a giant ray. The crew feared it. Stroud worshipped it. And on its first dive, something answered from the deep, a low, distant echo that shook the hull like a heartbeat. The first dives were short, 5 minutes underwater, then 10, then 15. Stroud took notes after each one, hands trembling with excitement. The crew, however, noticed something else. Each time the buried engine resurfaced, the iron was colder, damp with a strange film that smelled like sulfur and dead coral. And the hull wasn't dented. It was pushed inward, as if squeezed by giant hands. Stroud said it was pressure greetings. The crew called it a warning. Then came the dive that changed everything. They submerged near a trench Stroud insisted held the key to ocean power. The water turned dark, then black, then hollow. Inside the capsule, the air grew tight. The crank jammed. Something scraped the hull, not claws, not rock, but a slow, dragging stroke, as if something enormous slid past them and paused. A deep vibration rippled through the chamber. The pressure bladder groaned. Every rivet screamed. The crew begged Stroud to surface. He refused. "We're about to see what no human has ever seen." Then the lantern went out. In the darkness, the hull began to move, not from the crew, but from outside. A force lifted the entire capsule, tilted it, and then released it. They shot upward like a fired cannonball. When they breached the surface, the sea around them bubbled. Blue streaks of light rose beneath the waves, swirling, pulsing, moving like veins inside the ocean. Stroud stared, eyes wide. "It's energy," he whispered. "Raw, buried, waiting." But the sea was not done with them. The glowing streaks didn't fade. They followed the ship for days, rising at night, sinking by dawn. Not waves, not fish, something older. Stroud grew obsessed. He believed they discovered geothermal currents rich with sleeping power, energy that could be harnessed through pressure itself. Every night, he launched the buried engine again. Each dive longer, each resurfacing stranger. Rivets came back warped. Iron smelled burned. The glass port bent inward like soft wax, and the sea around them felt thin, as if they were diving not through water, but through layers of something heavier. On the final dive, Stroud insisted on reaching the heart of the current. The crew refused until he threatened them at gunpoint. They descended deeper than ever before, past light, past silence, into darkness that felt solid. Then the impossible happened. The water began to glow from below. A swirling blue vortex opened beneath the capsule, pulling the buried engine downward. Metal groaned. Bolts fired from the walls like musket shots. The crew screamed for Stroud to release ballast. He didn't. He pressed his face to the glass, whispering, "It's beautiful." The vortex surged. The capsule cracked. Water rushed in, not cold, but warm, vibrating with energy. The crew clawed at the hatch. Stroud stayed perfectly still. The buried engine sank, and the ship above was dragged with it. When rescuers found the wreck weeks later, the ship was intact, but the buried engine was gone. A perfect iron-shaped void in the sand marked where it had once been. Inside the hull, tools were fused. Wood was scorched in narrow lines, and the entire keel hummed faintly, like a struck tuning fork. No bodies were recovered, but the strangest discovery lay 30 feet from the wreck. A circle of glass fused into the seafloor, smooth as polished stone. Not sand, not coral, glass, as if the ocean itself had melted around something burning hot. When divers placed their ears to it, they heard a low vibration, a pulse, repeating every few seconds. Not random, not geological, mechanical. For years afterward, ships reported strange sightings, bubbles rising in perfect spirals, glowing light deep below, and sometimes a dark shape moving beneath the waves, leaving no wake. Some said the buried engine survived. Others whispered that Stroud had become part of whatever energy he tried to control. But old sailors still swear, if you sail near the trench at night, the water beneath you trembles, as if something down there is breathing, as if something metallic is still turning in the dark. And sometimes, just before dawn, a dim blue glow rises from the deep, like the lantern of a ship with no crew. What would you do if the sea didn't just swallow a machine, but kept it alive?